Hey guys, Infidel 1258 here. Today I want to talk to you about part of the town square. This is the conversation between the audience and Aggie and Weirdbeard, but really it's between the audience. We're talking Splinterlands related content, and there's a comment from somebody who comes on. It's PSilence or Silence, and he raises the point that moving away from collection power has had an impact on card pricing. And it seems his argument is that we should restore some importance of CP to a reward calculation, and that if we focus entirely on SPS as the sole determining factor for the rewards received for your investment of time and attention in Splinterlands, we're possibly going to devalue cards. And I don't necessarily agree. I want to listen to the clip of the question. I want to listen to Aggie's response, and I want to give my own thoughts. If that sounds interesting, stick around, stay tuned, like and subscribe. If you're new to my channel, my name is Dwayne Cunningham, and I go by Infidel1258. And on this channel, we cover Splinterlands most days, if not every day, because I think it's an amazing game, and it's changed my life, and I think it could change yours. If you're interested in Splinterlands and the rewards that you can receive for this, I think you might like to know about SplinterCoach.com, which will track your personalized battle history for $5 a month, and that can reveal data about how you win, when you win, how you lose, when you lose, and then not only is that fun to look at, but also can help you win more often, which is great. So check out SplinterCoach.com. Okay, so like I said, there was a recent town square. Every other week we're doing a town hall, and then every other week other than that we're doing a town square. And in the town square, there was a question from PSilence or Silence, and he goes, I'm going to let him ask the question he's about to pose to Aggie and Weirdbeard here. But in a nutshell, collection power being removed entirely from the reward calculations might mean that cards have less value than they did before. And so he wants to see some acknowledgement of CP in the reward calculations. And he looks to Aggie and Weirdbeard and maybe the community for their thoughts and feedback. Let's listen to him explain it, and then we'll listen to Aggie's response.
So my question is about the SPS staking. And obviously it's a great thing. It's been in the white paper for forever. I'm happy that it's here. Some of the comments I've been receiving, though, are obviously about for some people, the amount that needs to be staked seems very high. And some of the comments I've been receiving have been about players maybe feeling like their card collection has been neglected in favor of the SPS itself, because when there was CP, at least the cards that you owned counted towards something for purposes of your reward share. Well, I guess not your reward share, but the league that you could be locked into, etc. And they feel as though, and I'm one of those people as well, because I have like a $10,000 card collection, but only $1,000 in SPS, which kind of locks me out of Champ, where I used to be playing. And so some of the feelings have been expressed is there a chance that you might consider a blended approach to calculating CP and reward shares, where a portion of the stake could come from owned cards, not rented, because that would obviously break the system again, but owned cards, and a portion of the calculation could come from SPS staked? Is that something that could possibly be considered, so that the cards would hold a little bit more value? I have had some comments that people say, well, now I have to sell my cards in order to buy SPS, which would cause obviously downward pressure on the card market. So it kind of feels like the cards themselves are being lost in the SPS staking. Is that something that could potentially be considered, or that you guys?
So I'm going to stop him there, because he's posing the question to Aggie and Weirdbeard, and Aggie rightly responds saying it's not to me. That's a question to the DAO, because it's a reward question. But I want to focus on the heart of maybe, I don't know if it's a critique, the core of the issue here is he talks about how he has $10,000 worth of cards. He only has $1,000 worth of SPS. He understands he needs more SPS in order to extract the same rewards or greater rewards. And now he feels like he's caught and he needs to sell some of his assets. He does personally acknowledge that the SPS reward mechanism and the fact that the staking of SPS for rewards has been in the white paper forever. And I think that should be almost the end of the conversation in my mind, because it really does tell you that this has been a conversation that we've known about, we've been aware about, and frankly, if we don't have enough SPS, guys, and I know this is going to rub some of you the wrong way, but that's on us. We had a year airdrop. We could have held DC to get the SPS airdrop points. We could have bought SPS. We could have held it, but we sold as the price was coming down. Maybe that was wise because the prices were, 50 cents, 10 cents, 20 cents, $1 at one point. But then if you sold at high profits, now is the time to buy back at 2 pennies. So I just don't really understand when and I think you're going to hear some of this coming from Aggroed in a minute here. We're going to listen to his response. I don't understand this thinking that, one, I don't have enough SPS, but my card collection's in order and I want to keep it, therefore, as that being the relevant consideration. The CP, the collection power, as the relevant consideration for what league I play in or for what rewards I receive, because I'm better off under that regime, under that old, I guess, metric. And that's never been what we were planning. And so why were we building decks without the SPS bag to support them? Why was that happening, guys? And I'm not trying to start an argument with Silence. I just don't get where this line of thinking comes from. And he's speaking on behalf of people he knows and people who've come to him. And I know many of you feel the same way. I've heard people say the SPS stake is too high. The requirement, frankly, it is quite high. I got Elistio sent me the chart. This is the SPS requirement, or quote unquote, the tiers at which you can measure your bonus, your bonus for how much reward you receive. And if I'm in Champ 2, and if I want a 10 times multiplier, I need 322,000 SPS. I have 200,000, and therefore I'm getting something like 8.5 bonus. We could check in a moment. But as you can see in Champ 2, maximum bonus would be 981. I think I'm reading that properly, like 1 million SPS. That's a huge jump forward, 5 times what I currently hold. And that would only be a 12 times multiplier. And so sometimes I wonder, first, when people raise critiques like is being raised by Silence, is the issue that you don't have maximum 12x sort of points? Or is the issue that you don't even have like a basic level? Like if he says he has $1,000 worth of SPS, so he's got 50,000 SPS. That's not a small amount. But at the same time, it's not a large amount. There's people out there with big bags, and we have to bring the conversation back to the fact that these thresholds do not limit you from playing in Champion. They don't limit you from playing in Diamond. They don't limit you from playing in Gold. If you only have 50,000, which would be a 10 times multiplier in Gold 1, you could still play in Champion. You're just going to get rewards in the neighborhood of 4x, probably 5x multiplier, which is not nothing. I'm only getting an 8.5x multiplier, and I have quadruple what he has. So do you see, one, that there's significant rewards available to somebody who has a decent bag, and $1,000 worth of SPS is a decent bag? Do you also see that this idea has been outlined well in advance and we should have prepared for it, and therefore we bear the responsibility if we don't have enough SPS? And then lastly, do you see that it's not even really a case of the SPS is going to hold you down or prevent you? Because he does mention that. He says, I used to be able to get to with my collection power champ. But truthfully, you can get wherever you want. And then you can receive the rewards commensurate to the cards that you hold, the talent you have, and the SPS stake you carry. So I just feel like it's just a mistaken or maybe misguided to approach the conversation from that perspective. And I think I need to keep saying this because I don't want people who attend to Splinterlands to walk away thinking that this is something where SPS is secondary. SPS is a tertiary consideration. Your SPS bag is largely irrelevant. This has been so core since its launch, and the vision and the plan for what SPS was supposed to become is now beginning to unfold. And I think if you're not paying attention, in another year or 2 years, you're going to say to yourself, even more so than you might today, I don't have enough SPS. And I think at 2 cents or whatever it is right now, the current price point, 1.9 cents. I mean, now is the time. And I don't say that like now is the time as in let's go ape in. I say if you don't have enough, there's a path to that. You can earn it through battle rewards. You can earn it through, tournaments. You can earn it by buying it. You can earn it by staking it. You can earn it by, node validator node operation when that happens, etc. There's just paths to solve the problem. And I think coming to the team and saying, restoring collection power is just not it, because we already know that collection power is flawed. And they talk about that. Aggie talks about how it was a major flaw. And so does Weirdbeard, actually. It was a flaw because ultimately what it caused was people just rushing out and renting really high collection power cards to then bring their CP up to a level that allowed them to enter into certain tiers of performance, even though their deck was probably mild-mannered otherwise. So you had this essentially this metric by which you measured quality, and it really didn't measure quality. So it was broken. It was ineffective. Not to mention collection power was this constant reassessment. You were constantly, we had to scrape the blockchain to see how much CP you have, because your CP was always changing due to rental cards and buys and sells, etc. And so that's a waste of data. And that actually was a cost from a cloud, from the costs we associate with Amazon was one of the main problems. We had to constantly scrape it to see, are you still in gold 1, or now did you fall back to gold 2 because you've lost some of those? Constantly checking, apparently. I only know a little bit about that, but that is a reality. That was a concern. So those are my thoughts. But before we conclude, I just want to show Aggie's point, and I think it's far briefer, and I want to give some final thoughts, because I see it the way he's about to say it. It's like, is the issue that you want collection power in because SPS is not a good metric, or is the issue that you've already packed your bags with cards and therefore you would rather we pump card prices than SPS prices? And I have one more thought that I want to share, which is if SPS pumps. If SPS pumps in this game, card prices will pump in this game. That's the other misunderstanding that I see from the commenter, from the questioner. What about card prices? Well, if SPS goes to 50 cents and you're earning 5 SPS per battle, that's 250 per battle, you're going to see people buying more cards. Therefore, card prices will pump. So it's actually a misunderstanding to suggest or to believe that card prices need to be propped up through collection power. No, if SPS goes on a ride, card prices will go on a ride. But let's listen to Aggie share his thoughts, and it's a bit salty, so let's listen to this.
But why is it to you majorly beneficial that we should change the white paper from how it works to, or how it was always supposed to work, to add back in the collection power? Like, what's the primary motive? It sounds a little like, my card collection bags are already packed, so I don't want SPS bags to become important. But maybe it's different than that. And if you have kind of like a compelling argument, this is the exact time and place to be able to.
He goes on to say, this is the time and place, so raise your argument, explain to the audience, don't explain to me. I'm not the one who can do this for you. The DAO can do this. But that right there is his response to this conversation. And I think it's apt, unfortunately. I mean, I think people who don't have who have a disproportionate amount of card value and lack an SPS bag that's substantive enough to carry that card value are probably feeling like they wish they weren't left out in the cold. But the writing was on the wall with the white paper. SPS has always been intended for this purpose. Collection power never worked for that purpose. The metric, using that as a metric to measure and to apportion rewards, was broken from the beginning. Collection power had to go. It cost a ton of money from a server analysis perspective, constantly updating and checking and checking and checking. And then lastly, even if we think about it from the perspective of the fact that he's not wrong, card prices have fallen, and you could make a strong argument that this attention to SPS is part of why card prices have continued to fall. I'm now below $50,000 or $40,000, and it was around $50,000 about 2, maybe 3 months ago. So he's not wrong. Card prices have fallen, but in conclusion, I just want to say one more time, if SPS price pumps, card prices will pump. Because if SPS prices pump, the rewards for each battle will pump. And if that happens, more players will play and more accounts will create, and there'll be new people spending value on the assets in order to receive those massive rewards. So it's just, guys, SPS is the core of this game. It has always been that was going to be the case. It's now happening. If you're not sitting on an adequate SPS bag, like me, I'm not sitting on an adequate SPS bag. Get more. Don't ape in. Don't do something foolish. Make proper, thoughtful decisions, discerning over, and dollar cost averaging, doing whatever makes sense, whether it's even playing more tournaments so you can win more of it for free through your effort, or to stake more SPS because you've been sitting on a bag but it isn't staked. There's paths to this, guys. Figure it out. SPS is so core. If this game is fun and has a future, SPS is core to that. SPS will go on a ride, and if SPS goes flying, then card values will soar with it. So we need to get on board with this, but at the same time, and let's give the last thought to essentially to Silence and to the people who are for changing this SPS stake. If you disagree with this video, if you disagree with my views, if you disagree with Aggie's implied views in that little clip, then recognize one thing. SPS is the path to which you would overturn such an approach, right? If you disagree that SPS should be the basis through which your rewards are calculated, that these boost modifiers, if you disagree that these boost modifiers should be determined based on SPS stake, the only way for you to truly change that would be through acquiring SPS or influencing those who already hold SPS, because DAO votes will change this. Decentralized governance will control this. And so again, the very thing that you are almost longing to see be less important, SPS, less valuable, SPS, you don't want to care about it. You want to focus on cards. And that's not what Silence is saying. I'm just saying, you're less concerned about SPS. But yet, that's the very thing that would empower you to overturn this approach of reward calculation. I hope that makes sense. Thank you guys for your time and attention. Again, no hard feelings to Silence. I met him in Vegas. Seemed like a nice guy. I just happen to disagree with this line of questioning. And it's not just him. It's many of us who think this, because you feel the pain in your card bags falling. Guess who else does? Me too. Everyone. But again, if this game is going to thrive, it's going to come out of the fact that rewards have gone to a significant place, which draws new attention, draws new eyes, and new investment. And that's going to be a product of SPS pumping, not cards pumping. If cards pump, the people who've been playing it for 2-3 years, if cards pump in isolation, the people that have been playing it for 2 or 3 years are going to be the ones to benefit. If SPS pumps in a sustainable way, due to flywheel, due to new staking mechanics, etc., then that's going to drive new eyeballs, because it's actually going to be a reward available to anybody who has the cards to play the game at those levels to win that SPS in the tournaments or rank play or guild brawls, etc. So I hope that helps. I hope that this maybe changes some minds. If it doesn't, I still want to see the comments below, and I appreciate your time and attention. I hope you have an amazing day. God bless.